There's two things that you must know if you want to create wealth. And I think everybody wants to create wealth to some degree because it really controls so many areas of our life. And to say it's not important is absurd. It's very important in the area that it's used. Now, what are the two things that you have to look at? They're pretty simple, really. There's nothing complicated about it. You don't need a master's in business administration to understand this. You have to know where you are and you have to know where you're going, and then you got to get going. Now that's so basic and so simple, it's so obvious. You'd say, why are so many people stuck? Well, you'd look at it and you'd say, well, probably the answer is they don't have a goal. There's a lot of people stuck. A lot of people. When I say a lot, I'm talking about the majority of people are stuck. Year after year, they come up with the same results. Yet they're really trying to figure out how in the hell to change it. So it looks like it's the goal. At one time, I might have said that myself. But that's not really the problem. You see, I think everyone has a goal. Now, how they define it may be another thing. They may not be very articulate with it, but I think everybody wants something. Yet, if you want it, you could say that would qualify as a goal. Now, of course, if you have it in writing and you've got it properly written and everything, it's a different deal. But I don't think the goal is the lack of the goal is the problem. I think the problem is right here. It's where we are. Most people do not understand where they are. Now, if you're going to get anywhere, you've got to know where you're starting. If you dropped out of a plane somewhere over North America, you didn't know where, but you parachuted safely to ground. Let's say there's no street signs, there's no street lights, there's no compass, it's overcast. You haven't got any idea where you are, and your objective is to get to Los Angeles. God, you could be in Chicago and start to head towards Boston. If you don't know where you are, it doesn't matter if you know where you're going. You've got to know where you are. You've got to have a starting point. Yet you've got to be honest about it. And most people are not. You see, paradigm is the problem. It is really the problem. There is absolutely no question about it. Now, I have gone into some of the largest companies in the world. We went into the Prudential of America many, many years ago, raised the sales by over $100 million. There was one retired VP said he thought that we raised it over $1 billion. Yet, I didn't know anything about insurance. I remember the first meeting I put on was at the Hillside Holiday Inn in Chicago. We had about 500 agents in the room, and I told them any one of them could go out that year and write $5 million in business. Now, this is way back in the early 70s. Second I said that, I lost the audience. I mean, they stayed in the room, but mentally they were gone. And at the first break, this guy came up to me and he said, Proctor, have you ever sold insurance? And I said, no, I never have. He said, I didn't think so. And I said, why are you saying that? He said, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Well, I said, hold on a second. I do know what I'm talking about. I just said I've never sold insurance. He said, you just said that anyone in that room could go out and write $5 million. I said, that's right. He said, no one in the company has ever done that? Well, I said, then you could be the first. He said, you said we could do it this year. It's August. The year's over half gone. I said, then it won't take you as long to do it, will it? And I said, listen. Go back into the room and listen carefully to what I'm saying. You already know how to write $5 million. Writing or knowing how to do it, that's not your problem. You know how to do it. Your problem is you're not doing what you know how to do. And that's almost everybody's problem. Now I said, if you go back in there and listen, you could be the one that does it. His name was Don Slovin. This is written up in a Prue magazine. Second week in December, he had $5,200,000 worth of business on the books, and he closed the year with a little better than $6 million, and there was a bunch of people following him. You see, it isn't that we don't know what to do. Most of us already know how to do a lot better than we're doing. That's not the problem. We're not doing what we know how to do. You see, paradigm is really the problem. Now this is important that we get this, and we've got to understand this. This is a black and white deal. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. If the paradigm does not change, ultimately, everything's going to remain the same from one year to the next. I think it's important that you really burn that into your mind. It doesn't matter how hard you work. You think, if I just work a little harder. That's not the answer. It's not the answer. The truth is, a lot of people do a whole lot better working less. I think we've got to stop and really get this straight. Now, a paradigm is nothing but a multitude of habits. And a habit is nothing but an idea that's fixed in our subconscious mind. When you place an idea in your subconscious mind through repetition, it'll take root. It becomes fixed. A fixed idea is a habit. A habit is something we automatically do without any conscious thought. You get dressed by habit. When you pull your pants on, what foot do you put in first? How many put their right foot in first? Hold up your hand if you put your right foot in. How many put their left foot in first? I wonder why you do that. Well, when you were a little kid, you didn't know how to put your pants on. Your mother said, or your father said, put your foot in here, your other foot. See, they had the pants prepared as if they were going to put them on. And through repetition, you're doing the same thing as mom or dad or guardian, whoever's getting you dressed. And on it goes. Habits are nothing but ideas that are fixed in your subjective mind.